Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Today, I am so excited. We have an exclusive interview with Greg Mercer. He's the CEO and founder of Jungle Scout. You guys know I love Jungle Scout. And of course, he's an Amazon seller in his own right as well. So today's video, we are going to basically have a really nice interview, conversation with him. I think it's going to be incredibly valuable for every single one of you. And before we actually get into it, if this video gets, let's say 200 likes, let's say 200 likes. That's obtainable, right? 200 likes. More than 200 people watch this video. I'm going to give away a Chrome extension for Jungle Scout. So that's worth $97. I'm just going to give that away to one lucky person. Now, of course, how do I know who's going to get it? Make sure you smash that like button and leave a comment down below just saying liked, or maybe your thoughts on the interview, and I'll choose someone at random if we get 200 likes. So guys, without further ado, let's get into the interview straight away. Okay, everybody, we are here. We are here with Greg, and I think the first thing I would like to do is, obviously, a lot of people that watch my channel know what Jungle Scout is. It's something I talk about a lot. But can you just give everyone a bit of a backstory behind who is Greg Mercer and what have you done in the past?
Absolutely. Johnny, first of all, thank you very much for having me on. I'm excited to be here. I'm going to try to share some wisdom that's never been told before over the next 30 minutes. It'll be great. If we rewind all the way to my university days, I went to school to be a civil engineer. I had no idea what I wanted to do, so I was like, pick this major. I don't know why. Got out of school, I went the typical route that mom and dad wanted me to do. Like, got a job, worked at this corporate civil engineering firm. It sucked. I didn't like it. I wasn't happy. I'm an entrepreneur at heart, so I wanted to start my own business. So I think I literally started with like how to make money on the internet or something. I don't know when I started on Google, but I tried a few different things. Most of them didn't really do very well until I found that some people were like selling stuff on Amazon. So I got started with that, and I picked up some traction pretty quick, and I was like, whoa, this is like a real opportunity. I think at the time I was kind of like down in the dumps because the past few things I tried like didn't make me any money. And I was like, whoa, this really works. This is cool. Like, it makes sense to me. Some of the stuff was like trying to or some of the other stuff was trying to like resell traffic or whatever. That was like very confusing for me, but I'm like, okay, like buying goods from factories at cheap prices, reselling them online, like this makes sense. Like, I get it. Like, I believe that this works, and it did. Made enough income to quit my job, went full-time selling on Amazon. Shortly thereafter, my wife also quit her job and we started traveling the world. So for like really up until this year, the past 3 years, we've been like full-time nomads. We just traveled around, managed our businesses remotely. And yeah, that's how I got to where I'm at today. I recently just moved to Austin, Texas. So I do have a home here now. We plan on living like half the year here and still traveling half the year. But yeah, so I'm still a full-time Amazon seller. I'm still an Amazon seller. I shouldn't say full-time. I spend maybe like 5 hours a week on it. And that kind of like helps me like stay in the know of what's working, what's not. I run experiments on all my products, all that type of stuff. And the rest of the time is spent on Jungle Scout, education, as well as our SaaS tools for Amazon sellers.
Amazing. That's incredible. And I think there's something that you picked up, which I didn't actually know, or something you said, is that before you started selling on Amazon, you had already, tried other business models but weren't successful.
Yeah.
Do you find a lot of other people that you speak to have the same sort of experience?
I think probably so. Like a lot of people want to become entrepreneurs. It's like a fabulous way to live. I love all things like about entrepreneurship. And like, I believe the world would be a better place with more entrepreneurs. So I love that. But I think it's really hard for a lot of people to get started, right? It's like, what do I want to do? Some of these things maybe require a lot of technical expertise or a lot of startup capital or whatever else. Like, it's pretty hard to get started with it, right? So, then if like you're just searching online, you don't really know where to start. There's just like so much like noise. A lot of it's just like scams or like crap. So it's kind of hard to like cut through all that noise and figure out like, okay, what's really legit, what actually works, all that type of stuff.
Exactly. And you managed to find that, which is incredible.
Yeah.
and it went, let's just say, pretty well for you. Let's just say it went pretty well. Can you talk a little bit about your Amazon business? Because there's a few things that you do which I would like everyone to know. Okay, just everyone ever. But can you just talk a little bit about your Amazon business when you kind of started it? What you were selling? Were you doing, wholesale, retail arbitrage, private label, and where it is maybe to this like today, like literally today?
Yeah, so when I got started, I was actually doing mostly wholesale stuff. And over time, I've now phased all of that. I no longer sell any wholesale stuff. Now it's just private label. So pretty much as soon as I found out about private label, the margins were like way better. It just all around, everything about it just like seemed better. So I was like, oh crap, like I need to like start doing more of this. So I started launching more private label products. So now I only doing private label products. I've launched over 100 private label products on Amazon. The business does, during Q4, I think we got up to like 700,000 a month, but it does about like $500,000 a month on average revenue. And yeah, I do have 3 people that help me. So it's not just 5 hours a week to do that. So like I personally only spend 5 hours a week, but there are 3 people who work on that business full time.
Okay. But then in terms of businesses, if you compare that to something like Jungle Scout, and obviously your Amazon business will turn over, 500, 700,000 a month, really 3 people to manage that amount of revenue is actually not a lot, is it?
No, it's not, especially when compared to Jungle Scout, which we don't release revenue numbers, but there's 40 people that work on Jungle Scout. So that's 8 times as many, or no, like 13 times as many as my Amazon business. And we definitely don't do 13 times the revenue. So it is pretty amazing if you think about it like that, right?
It's great.
Because yeah, it's like that's what's so awesome about FBA is like Amazon does most of the work for you. Like they hired the warehouse people, they store the goods, they do most of the customer support, they drive traffic to their platform, they have the engineers to do the technical stuff. So it's true. Like I guess if I wasn't using Amazon and I was doing $500,000 a month on my own e-commerce store, it probably would be like the same ratio of employees as Jungle Scout was. I'd probably need like 15 employees or something. I'd need like a few people in the warehouse, 5 people in the call center, whatever else. But that's what's awesome about Amazon. Like they do all that.
Exactly. They empower us to be able to actually do the stuff that's important, do the research, do the marketing.
Yeah, like the high value stuff, right? Yeah,
exactly. Stuff that actually really makes you the money. Just to briefly while we talk about it as well, because I get this question quite a lot is, it's all about margins, right? And people say the margins in wholesale is less than private label. Can you give us maybe a brief comparison, maybe percentage-wise, in terms of what? Yeah.
Absolutely. So my margins were much better with private label products. So for full transparency, I think, we just closed out the books for 2017, and I think our margins were like 21 point something. So let's just say 21%. But this would be all in with absolutely everything. So like employees, damaged inventory, PPC, marketing, like everything. Like this is like at the end of the year, closing the books, all things considered, which is pretty good for a business. Like most brick and mortar stores wouldn't have that good of margins, especially when you really factor in like all the true costs of doing a business. So I forget what it was like when I was doing wholesale, but it was much slimmer than that. Like I guess another way I could kind of look at it, with my private label products, I'm doing right around like 90 to 100% ROI on my landed costs. So, this cup right here, if it cost me $5 to land this at Amazon's warehouse, I'm making about $5 profit for every unit I buy. And that's actually my favorite way to look at it, because it's like, okay, I have to pull $5 out of my pocket and give it to a factory. Like how much money am I making back on that like I invest in it? So I think that's actually like a better sign of like the health, like the financial health of a company, as opposed to margins. Cause that, like I could just be doing, a ton of PPC that are like decreasing my margins or whatever else. But now the ROI on wholesale products were nothing near that. Like they were probably like 20% ROI or something like much lower. So that's another way to kind of think about it.
Exactly. And that's what I always tell people as well, is try and double your money. That's any investment where you can double your money, you've made a great investment. And it's a great business, isn't it? Again, like you said, most businesses can't get that sort of profit margin. It's certainly not in maybe the service or physical inventory businesses.
Right. So and that's again, that's like a great like gauge of like overall health. So like another way to like kind of think about this, right, is like my marshmallow sticks I sell publicly, they sell for like $20. But since they're big and heavy and oversized, for that product, Amazon fees are about $10, about 50%, right? So I only buy that product for like $3, but I make like $4 or $5 profit. So again, every like $3 I take out of my wallet and get to the factory, I'm making back like 150% on that. So yeah, my margins for that product are only like 25%, which to some people seems low, some people seems high, but like I make 150% back on the money that I invested in, which is a pretty sweet deal.
It is, especially when you consider probably the money that you've given to the factory is 150% of what you spent previously. So it's always compounding, isn't it? Always compounding.
Yeah.
In terms of building a portfolio of products, you started with, I can assume, one product, and you've built it up to the case of, you said you launched over 100 private label products. A lot of the people, a lot of common questions were, how do you scale and how do you continue to find new products to sell for private label?
Yeah, so the best way to scale up these Amazon businesses is with launching new products. Okay, so you can only squeeze so much like optimization out of any one listing. At some point, if you want to grow bigger, you just need more SKUs. Okay, so to launch, and then I guess what's great about this business is once you've launched, say, like 3 products, and you've kind of like figured out how the system works, all that good stuff, it's very repeatable. So the difference between someone who's launched 10 products on Amazon and let's say is doing $50,000 a month in revenue, and the person who's launched 1,000 products doing $10 million a month in revenue, the only difference is like creating systems to repeat the process more efficiently and having enough cash to invest in the business to purchase the inventory. That's really the only difference. Besides that, you're just doing the same process, right? So of course, I'm using Jungle Scout to find the products because, it's Jungle Scout's my software tool that I invented to do exactly what I needed. But yeah, I mean, I use the same criteria every time, that I want something with high demand and low competition, like no legal issues. I prefer small and simple, but I don't only launch products like that. So yeah, that's kind of like how I go about it. And I think another important thing to add to this is I don't care about launching like one cohesive brand that all fits nicely together. Some people do, and that's perfectly fine, but I'm just going to give you my rationale behind that. Is these brands that I've created, I like to think of them as well-known brands, but in reality, if I'm being real with myself, no one knows about these brands. Like, no one's going on Amazon and searching for one of my private label brands. Sure, some of these products have sold like tens of thousands of units, but I still don't have like brand exposure like whatever Sony does or something, right? So people are finding my products. They go to Amazon and they type in like mic stand or whatever, marshmallow stick, and then they see my product. It has great reviews. It has good pictures. Everything about the listing looks good, so they buy it. Okay. So since they're not searching my brand, they're just searching for the product type, okay? Like, I don't see any real benefit in creating this brand for people to search for. Now, in my early days, I tried to do this because I thought this is just like what you do. So like I had like a garden stool. So I was like, okay, like I should have like gardening tools and like whatever else goes like in this gardening type niche. But a lot of those products didn't do well. And the reason for that, it was like, I didn't follow the criteria of like high demand with low competition and good margins, whatever else. I was just launching it because it fit in this brand. But in reality, it wasn't a good opportunity on Amazon. It just fit into my brand. So it's like, instead, why don't I only sell products that are good opportunities on Amazon? Like, who cares about creating this cohesive brand? So that's my opinion. Some people feel very strongly the opposite way, that you have to create this nice cohesive brand. And obviously there's benefits of that if you're trying to do more marketing outside Amazon, your own e-commerce store and all that kind of stuff. But I just do Amazon now. Everything else I didn't think was like a good use of my time. So yeah, those are some of my thoughts on it.
That's really interesting. And with the products that you are launching, because quite a few people will create separate Amazon seller accounts for their different kind of type of products. So if you sell loads of home and kind of garden accessories, they might go into one seller account, or you might have another one with sports and outdoors. Do you have it all in one store, or do you separate them into different seller stores?
Yeah, so I just do one store because again, as sellers, like we know kind of like what goes on behind the scenes on Amazon, but to the general consumer, they don't click on your store name and like see what other products you like have, like browse what products your sell stores and like stores selling and buy one of those. That just doesn't happen. Like I don't know what percent, but I'd say like 75% of consumers on Amazon don't even know that like they're purchasing this product from a third party as opposed to Amazon. They just think like Jeff Bezos buys all this stuff. It sits at Amazon and they're buying it from Jeff Bezos. So it's like, yeah. So it's like, who cares if you have all this random crazy stuff in your store? Like no one clicks on your store and goes there. They type in the search bar what they're looking for.
Exactly. It's only us sellers who go into the store and like, what are you selling? What else are you selling?
Yeah, exactly. So that's how I think about it.
So that's a really good approach, because again, that's a question that I think about myself. It's a question that lots of people think about: is shall I make a new one? Shall I make a custom brand? And it just goes to show that you can continue to release products that are not related under one seller name and be very successful with it as well. And there's lots of sellers that do that. Now, for all the kind of beginners out there, because a lot of people that watch this channel are either beginners or not quite started yet. When, in terms of your advice for when someone creating their listing, what do you think someone's resources should go towards when they're creating their listing?
Yeah, so easily the most important thing. All right, there's two most important things. The two most important things are going to be your keyword research. So you need to have all of the relevant keywords that people will be searching for to purchase your product, in your listing, and the most important ones in your title. That's very important. The other thing that's very important is your pictures. So again, typical Amazon consumer behavior is to search for your product. So A, you need it to rank in the search results. So that's very important that you have the right keywords in there. And then two, they look at the pictures and the reviews. A very small percentage of people are reading like the description and the bullets and all that stuff. So it's not that important as long as all your keywords are in there. But everyone looks at the pictures before they purchase, and most people are reading through the reviews, seeing what people like and don't like. So those would easily be, like if you're thinking you have limited time, you're trying to think what I should focus your time on, pictures and your keyword research.
Amazing. That's good. So take that on board, guys. It's coming from Craig directly. And I bet you've seen thousands and thousands of sellers that might, ask for your advice on their listings and stuff like that. So you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, really I have a lot of sellers and I've launched a lot of my own products. So
exactly. So,
and I've made a lot of mistakes.
But that's how we learn, right? That's how we learn by making it. So I'm more than happy to learn by your mistakes rather than my own.
That's what I'm trying to do. You don't need to make the mistakes that I've made.
Exactly. But that's fantastic. And if we kind of move on to Jungle Scout now, and the thing that I really like about what you've done with Jungle Scout is you've not just said, hey, here's a service that is useful to you. It's here's a service that's useful to you. This is how you use it. This is how you launch products, and this is how you can actually make a business and an income out of it. So can you just take us back through a bit about what were you doing before the time of Jungle Scout? I don't know what I would have done, but how did you do anything?
Yeah, like the dark ages of Amazon. So the reason Jungle Scout was born is because, all right, so I'm a very data-driven person, right? Like I told earlier, like an engineer by background, very just like analytical. I think the numbers don't lie. So just passionate about that. Okay. So at the time, I was like, okay, I've launched a few products on Amazon. A few of them did well, a few of them didn't. This was kind of, this is like 2011. So this was kind of like before like there was like Amazon training or anything like that, right? I was like figuring this stuff out myself. So some of them did well, some of them didn't. At the time, like no one really knew what was selling well on Amazon. Like there were like, if you read online, there were some like rules of thumbs that like, oh, you should only sell things with like a bestsellers rank less than like 3,000 or whatever else. But as it turned out, like that bestsellers rank in some categories would have a ton of sales, and like in appliances, like a rank of 3,000 only sells like one a week. So it's like a bad product, right? So like those rules of thumbs sucked. I was very analytical. So I was like trying to look for a better way. So like I was like paying VAs in the Philippines like a few dollars an hour to like create these spreadsheets. I would give them like a list of ideas. They would create these spreadsheets. It would take them like an hour per spreadsheet. So it cost me like $3 essentially like per product idea that I wanted them to research. So it was timely. It took a while. It started to add up because, I was paying like hundreds of dollars, but more so like it just took too long. So I was like, okay, there has to be a better way. Like this could easily be automated by a piece of software. So like that's when I set out to build Jungle Scout. But I mean, before Jungle Scout, like I just came up with some like through trial of error and just like through asking other people selling on Amazon. I was like, okay, like how many units are you selling at like a bestsellers rank of 5,000 and whatever else. So, yeah, thankfully those days don't exist anymore, but that it was just very manual, time consuming process.
Yeah. Back then it really was a jungle then, I guess.
Yeah,
exactly. And in terms of how long did it actually take you to build the software to, maybe not what we know it is today, but initially to get it out there so that people could actually start utilizing it?
Yeah, so I started with the Chrome extension, okay? And it only took, I think, like 6 weeks or something to build. It didn't take that long, maybe 2 months. Mm-hmm. But if you were to go back, and look at it back then, like it was crappy. It was bad. So, obviously now we've had like 3 years to improve this. Like we have much better developers now, much more of them, everything else, data scientists, all that good stuff. So at the start is essentially just like, it pre-populated a spreadsheet for you. That was like the basis of it. But like the sales estimates weren't very good because I didn't have very much data to go off of. And so, yeah, it didn't take that long, but the product at the time reflected, the amount of work that had gone into it, for sure.
So in terms of, because I think a lot of people, I say the majority of people wouldn't appreciate how much information you guys need to kind of sift through to get to the point where you can give these numbers to us as the end user. When you launched in somewhere like the UK, how long did it take your Jungle Scout to come together and say, right, we've got enough information now where we can give the true numbers as possible? Because obviously the sales volume is different in different marketplaces.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And actually, for anyone watching this, we just released this new thing called AccuSales, like ACCU sales, SALES. Obviously, like just Google like AccuSales, and you can see a blog post that our data scientists put together about like the whole. Like we've been totally transparent about everything that we do to come up with these sales estimates, and essentially like all the work that has to go into them. So to answer your question, I think it took maybe like 2 or 3 months of data collection to get like the first version together. And then we're constantly improving them. So actually like this AccuSales, this is our brand new, a brand new modeling method to estimate sales on Amazon. We're doing it a little bit differently now that I found it's more accurate. But just to give you like, it's kind of hard for me to like picture, like big numbers and stuff or whatever. But like just to give you an idea, there's so like with all marketplaces, we take into account about 500 million, so 500 million data points every day. So like it's pretty hard to like visualize that. Like another way that like I really visualize it that is a bad thing is like our AWS bill to power these computers just for the AccuSales system was like $95,000 last month. So about $100,000 a month of computing power to like process 500 million data points a day to create the models required. So that's like kind of another way. So it's like there's just like a lot of data that's like very hard for me to like. I don't know what 500 million data points look like, but like it's a lot.
That's incredible, and that's why people can launch their products based off that information.
Yeah,
you're putting the time and resources
really cool, right?
into it. It's incredible. It's great. Which is why I talk about it all the time. Now, in terms of going forward with Jungle Scout, this is a really great question I got asked from Facebook, and it was, what can we expect to see? And obviously, you're not going to give away any secrets or anything like that, but what sort of improvements or enhancements can we expect to see, or can you talk about any of that into the future?
Yeah, of course, I'd be happy to. So like with Jungle Scout, we're trying to do, it is the product research tool, or the product identifying tool. So everything we think about that gets built into Jungle Scout is like, what can we do to help the end user find products that will make them money on Amazon? At the end of the day, that's what drives all of our decisions, right? So then when we think, like, if we think about it a little bit more, like from like a 5,000 foot view, it's like, okay, we need to show our customers the products that are in high demand, low competition, products that can that need improvements, listings that are of poor quality but still sell well, keywords that they should be able to target. Like all these types of things are like what we're thinking about, drives the decision to choose these products. So we are releasing some keyword search volume data soon, because that's going to help our users decide like what opportunities are good for them. And like, I guess like the other big improvements are like based off like the three main existing features of Jungle Scout web app, the product tracker, the product database, and the niche hunter. But we're rolling out like a new user interface probably in the next few weeks that's like much easier to use, because I guess what we found is in Jungle Scout, there's tons and tons of data and it's very, very powerful. But what holds a lot of people back is it's a little bit difficult to use, right? Like with any like powerful, robust tool, it's like if you're just jumping in there, you've never seen it before, like you haven't watched some of your training or whatever else. It's kind of difficult, right? It's like overwhelming. It's like, wow, what do all these numbers mean to me? So like a lot of it is just helping like the end user interpret this data or use this very powerful data more efficiently for their business.
Yeah, like that. And that will help more people as well. That's the main thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
Right. And like, all right, that's like kind of what drives all the decisions.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I like the keyword research part. I like that because that's another cost that we have to pay for on a normally a monthly basis. Like for example, myself, and it's a lot of money. So if it's all in part of that one membership, a pro membership or whatever it may be, saving people money, but I can pretty sure that you'd be getting the numbers pretty good as well. Which is what I'd be.
That's the big part of it. It's like one was like we want numbers that are much more accurate than anything currently on the market. Yeah. And the other thing I love about the keyword research stuff is like it can be used in the product research when you're choosing your opportunity, but it's also really valuable to have when you're creating your listing, like we talked about a little bit earlier, right? Like which keywords do I want to target? So yeah, it's gonna be good.
So important. Now the last thing in terms of the Jungle Scout itself as that brand, and I saw this is only maybe like yesterday or last week or something like that. Can you explain what Go Pitch Win is?
Yeah. So this is a new podcast. We're recording it right now. It'll be released sometime in first quarter, but Go Pitch Win is a Shark Tank style podcast where people are coming on and they're pitching a product idea or business idea to myself and a guest judge, and 10 contestants per season. Each season we choose one winner and we give them a $10,000 gift to help them launch their product or their business. So yeah, it's just a really cool kind of like fun thing that we're doing. It's a great opportunity for people to win money for their business. And it's more than that, I guess, for everyone listening though, we're going to be talking a lot about kind of like what myself and this guest judge believes that they're going to do well in their business, what like concerns we have with it. So it's really beneficial for everyone listening to it as well. Like, okay, these are things I need to be thinking about in my business. So, and we actually, for anyone watching this, we still need some more contestants. So if you do go to like junglescout.com/podcast, you can sign up. And if you're selected, then we'll bring you on, and then you'll have a 1 out of 10 chance. Well, hopefully better than that if you do a good job, but 1 out of 10 chance of winning the $10,000.
That's incredible. And is that open to everyone in the world?
Yeah, anyone in the world. So, and this doesn't have to be just like an Amazon product. This is like any business idea. So we wanted to really open this up to like all entrepreneurial type people.
That's incredible. Yeah. So make sure, guys, if you have that idea, you know where to go, right? I'll make sure I link that down below as well. That
awesome.
Website.
Thank you very much.
Now, the kind of final thing we really want to, I guess, round this off on. I do have one question at the end, which is going to be the killer question, right? But I want to talk about Jump Send, if that's all right, because it's another tool that you've created probably out of necessity. But can you just explain firstly what it is and what it does, what it solves?
Yeah, absolutely. So JumpSend has two main features. One feature is a deal site. On this deal site, Amazon sellers go there. They post their product with coupons. And then the other side of the deal site is that there are bargain hunters on here, shoppers, consumers that would request your coupon. So This is beneficial for Amazon sellers because it's a way to sell additional items. This is especially beneficial early on when like you need some initial sales velocity. So, when I'm launching a brand new product, I put it up on there. I'd say it's like 70% off or whatever. Let's say I get 50 requests for a coupon, and then I can give as many coupons out as I want. So maybe I'll do like 5 a day for 5 days in a row or something like that. You can choose how you want to do it. So that's one side of JumpSend. It's a deal marketplace for you to get additional sales. The other side of JumpSend is a email follow-up tool. So what this does is anyone that purchases your product, it doesn't just have to be through the deal site. This is just everyone who purchased your product, whether it's through Amazon or through these coupons they're giving on the deal site or anywhere else. And it sends them a set of follow-up emails. So the 3 biggest reasons people send follow-up emails is for follow-up about the product. So maybe this is like assembly instructions or return details or whatever else. The number 1 reason I'd say is used is for asking for a review. So, if you ask people to leave a review, it really increases the number of reviews you get for a product. Through our testing, across the board on Amazon, only about like 1.8% of consumers leave a review. But if you send a follow-up email, it goes up to like 5 point something. So like 250% increase of reviews, which is very important for Amazon sellers. And then people also do it just to like build rapport with the customer or ask for seller feedback, or there's all these reasons. So yeah, that's the other side of it, to send follow-up email sequence to your consumers.
Exactly. And the email side of things, we've been able to utilize that in the UK for quite a while. But the coupon side of things, we've only recently, within the last, 2 months, maybe 2 or 3 months?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think like October, November is when we released the deal site to the UK.
Yeah, exactly. And how have you found that? Because a lot of questions, again, that I will get is, because it's new, will it be able to give you the demand for your product so that people can redeem the coupons and you can start to rank for that particular keyword? Is it hard to launch that in a new country?
Yeah, with any marketplace, you always have like the chicken and the egg problem, right? So it's like if there's no shoppers on the platform, then like sellers don't want to list their product. If there's no products on the platform, then like shoppers aren't coming there, right?
Yeah.
So what we did when we got started, we offered it for like 3 months free to UK sellers to list their products on there. And that was a way to say like, hey, right now we only have like a few hundred shoppers, but like it's free for you because like we need shoppers. And then what it comes down to is we just spend a whole bunch of money on Facebook ads to get a whole bunch of shoppers. So I think now, last I checked, there was over 10,000 shoppers in the UK, which is pretty good. I haven't looked in the past few weeks, like what's average for like how many coupon requests sellers are getting. But with whether it's the US or the UK, something you have to keep in mind is the shoppers on these platforms, they're bargain hunters, right? Sometimes people put their products up there for like 30% off and they're like, how come no one like requested this coupon? It's like, well, no one wants your iPhone case like for $3 off. Like, it's just not like a great value for them. So, I mean, these are like bargain hunters. Most of the products they find are going to be like, this isn't stuff they need, but it's like, all right, like this glass looks pretty cool. Like for 70% off, like, all right, I'll take that. It's like for 30% off, it's like, well, I don't need any glasses, but like, so that's something to keep in mind. Like, regardless of what market, US or UK or anything else, like the people on there are bargain hunters. And if you want them to get or request a whole bunch of coupons, you do have to offer pretty steep discounts.
Okay, exactly. And my girlfriend is one of those bargain hunters. When I started talking to her about, because she's a lot of this kind of stuff, it just goes over her head. But when I talk about, JumpSend and giveaways, she's like, hang on a minute, what? There's a place where you can go to get discounts off like loads of stuff on Amazon. I was like, yeah. She was like, get out of the way. get me on their website. And that is the main thing. So do you have like a percentage that you would personally give off your product? So 17, 19, 95%?
Good question. I usually, when I first start, I typically do like 80% off. Okay. And what you'll find like within like 24 hours is either a whole bunch of people want it at that price or not enough people. So if not enough people want it at 80% off, then maybe I'll do like 90, and then you'll get like a ton at 90%. But other times it's like products that aren't often on JumpSend, or something that like has a very high perceived value. In that case, it might be like, whoa, like I had 200 people that requested my coupon. I don't need that many. So I'll give out a few coupons at this rate, and then I'll repost it at, say, like 60% off, and say, okay, I got 50 more coupon requests at 60% off, so that's okay. So I usually use 80% as a starting point. If you need more shoppers, you can increase the discount. If you got way too many, then you could, decrease it. So I think that's a good starting point there, 80% off.
Yeah, and would you normally run like one launch, or are you going to run a launch for every really keyword that you want to rank for?
Yeah, so I do like one launch per product, and everyone always wants to know, like, okay, how long do your launches run for? What does it look like? All this kind of stuff. So we can just talk about it real quick. Mm-hmm. For the products that I typically launch, my goal is usually like 10 sales per day during kind of like a launch phase. Okay, so in real life, what this is going to look like is right when my product gets in, I usually go ahead and just turn on PPC right away with like fairly aggressive bids. It's not going to perform that well because I don't have any reviews right now. But maybe I'm getting like 1, 2, 3 sales per day through like PPC. So it's like, okay, I wanted 10 sales a day. So that means I need to be getting people to redeem 7 coupons per day. Well, that probably means that you have to give out like 10 coupons or 12 coupons because not everyone's going to redeem them. So then maybe I'm giving out like 10 coupons a day. So that's like day 1. Day 2, I'll probably do the same thing. Day 3, I'll probably do the same thing. By day like 4, I'll probably start to get a few like organic sales. Okay. So now instead of on page 100, I'm ranked on page 2 or page 3. And for some long tail keywords, people find my product and decide to buy. So maybe on day 4 and 5, like I have like 2 organic sales, but I still have to give away 6 or 8 coupons, and I still get a few PPC sales. And then over the course of like the first 2 weeks, I'll be giving away less coupons every day, and my organic sales and my PPC sales will increase. And then hopefully by the end of like 3 weeks or something, then I won't give out any more coupons, and I'll just be getting organic sales and sales through PPC. So that's usually how it like kind of plays out in real life. Depending on what product you chose and how competitive it is and how much demand, you might stop giving away coupons after 3 days, or it might be like, maybe for something super competitive, it might be like a month. But that's the idea, is in order to get these products started on Amazon, you need to get sales. Like if you don't have any sales, it's just lost like on the last page of Amazon. No one will ever find it. So you do have to lose some money up front in order to make sales and then get that listing ranked.
Exactly. And you mentioned something super important, and that was particularly on the bidding, aggressive bidding for your campaigns. Now, so say for example, Amazon have their suggested bid, right? And that's kind of like, I don't find it very useful personally.
Yeah, it's not that useful.
Because it doesn't. You do the suggested bid, and it just doesn't really do anything. So, say for example, the suggested bid. Let's do it in dollars. If it was, between $1 and $1.30, okay, their suggested bid. For an aggressive bid, are you going up to $2? Are you going $3? What is aggressive in terms of?
Yeah, I might do $3. And something to keep in mind: this is a ad auction. So even if I bid $5. If the next highest bid was $1, I would get charged like $1.05, right? I'm not getting charged $5. So that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, I'd probably bid like $3. And again, I expect for those first few weeks, even like for the first month, to lose money on these sales. Like I'm exchanging, losing money up front for this long-term listing that's going to make me money for years and years to come. So that's an important thing. I think a lot of people are like, okay, like I did my launch. It lasted 3 days. Like now I'm ready to start rolling in the dough. It's like, well, like it's going to take a few weeks.
Exactly. So I think that's so your A cost. And if people don't know what that is, it's your cost, basically your cost per sale. How much you spend on advertising per sale you've made. So in those initial stages, that's going to be over 100%. I would assume. Yeah. 300, 200%.
Yeah, it might be. 300%. Yeah, 200%, 300%. It's not really that uncommon, especially. And the way I look at that also, like, I'm paying to get keyword data from Amazon, which is very valuable. I'm paying to figure out which keywords convert well for my particular listing. So yeah, like you are losing money up front, like on a per cost, like a per sale basis, but you're gathering a bunch of information. You're starting to get this listing ranked in Amazon. So that's why it's worth it in the long term.
Absolutely. And that's key. That's a key bit of information, guys. If you're about to launch your product, take that on board. It's very, very important. Right. So I am very, very aware of your time. And of course, you've been kind enough to be able to do this. But the last kind of question, I was just trying to think, what's going to be the most beneficial question for kind of my sort of audience, beginners really, is if you had to give someone like 3 tips or the top 2 things or whatever it may be, if they're starting their Amazon business or they're starting out as, an e-commerce entrepreneur, what are the things that differentiate a successful seller and an unsuccessful one?
Good question. All right. So I can break this down to like 3 steps. Okay. So, step 1 is like the education, understanding how it works. And, if you found Jonny in the YouTube channel, you're already off like to a fantastic start, right? Because you're learning how this process starts, and that's going to save you like quite a bit of money in the long term. Step 2, or like the second most important thing I would say, is the product research is very important. It's like, that's kind of the make and break it point at a certain, it really is like the make or break it part at like a certain point, because if you try to sell something on Amazon that has no demand, there's no one searching for it, like it's not going to sell. Like you can do all of like the keyword optimization in the world you want, or like all new pictures or whatever, but like if no one's trying to buy this product on Amazon, it's not going to sell. So demand is extremely, extremely important. And then lastly though, just getting started is the number one reason that people aren't successful entrepreneurs. They're watching this right now and they're thinking to themselves like, yeah, Greg did it. Yeah, Jonny did it, but like they're smarter than me, or they just like tell themselves what other excuse. And I know this because I was the exact same way. I was like, yeah, but like, look, he's got, whatever. I just tell myself all these excuses, all the reasons that like I couldn't do it, but the person like I was watching could. And we did this really cool survey. It was last year, but we surveyed over 2,000 Amazon sellers, and we asked them like 100 questions, and then we gave this to our data scientists, and we're like, what correlations do the successful sellers have from the unsuccessful sellers? Okay. And I was going to think like, oh, it's the people who start out with a whole bunch of money, or like all of my assumptions were wrong. And actually like the most important part was just the length of time that they've been selling on Amazon. And what that correlates to is like the just getting started part. So someone who's just getting started and only has like $500 to spend, it like 2 years from now, that person will be more successful than the person who has a whole bunch of cash to spend, but they wait a year because they really just want to keep learning or whatever else. So at the end of the day, like the most important thing is just getting started, and just go into it with the mindset of like your first product, like maybe you don't make any money from it, like you break even. Just go into it with that mindset that like your goal for your first product is to break even, because you'll learn so much from that, and those will be like the building blocks you need to, be successful down the road and like later on. So that's the piece of wisdom I will leave you with.
It's an incredible piece of wisdom, guys. Write that down. You need to write that down. Right, so I'm going to kind of sign it off, and you don't know this, but I have a little competition for people in my intro. So I said if they leave comments and they smash the like button, so I said just a low figure, let's say 200 likes. All we need is 200 likes. I'm going to be giving away a Chrome extension for Jungle Scout, so I'm going to be PayPaling someone to do that. So make sure you guys, you do comment down below, maybe a question or anything to do with Amazon really, or Jungle Scout, or any of the services, or just say that you like the video, and I'm going to choose someone in about 24 hours, and we're going to, I'll just PayPal you the money so you can get involved with Jungle Scout as well.
Awesome.
So we're going to do that as well.
Super generous of you.
It's the least we can do. Thing is, though, I want some people, they want to get started and they don't realize how good the services are until they've actually used it. So it's something I can do to help, and it's my pleasure to do so. In terms of for you, Greg, thank you so much for taking the time out of your extremely busy life to be able to come onto my small little tiny YouTube channel and do an interview with me. Before we kind of end this video, is there anything else, any lasting questions or thoughts or anything like that you'd like to say?
If you want to learn more about Jungle Scout or check out some of like the educational materials we have tons and tons of free educational materials. Just check out junglescout.com. There's a free resources section there. You can start browsing around, start learning more about Amazon with publicly launched products and all that good stuff. So yeah, just check it out.
Exactly. Is it the university? The Jungle Scout University.
Yeah, Jungle Scout University. Like, you can also search in there, like the $1 Million Case Study is a good one. There's tons of stuff. You can spend days and days in there if you're interested.
And you do have a UK $1 Million Case Study as well, don't you?
We do. So we launched sleeping bags in the UK, so you can follow along with that whole process. We talk about VAT and other things that are specific just to the EU region.
Yeah, all the tax basically.
Yeah. All the tax, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, Greg, thank you ever so much again, and I'll see
Absolutely.
see you guys very soon. Bye bye.